ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike King here. This is part of the Mike King Biz Media Network. We got Tiffany Greene is in the house, Empower People. Welcome back to the program. We pull out no stops here, ladies and gentlemen. We spare no expenses. Welcome back to the program.
Do we do the SNL cowbell skit ever? Because I think that needs to be done. Do you know that?
No, I do not.
Okay, so that's your homework assignment.
That's a homework assignment. Okay, you were here really quickly. Empower people with the cool spelling.
Yes.
Hashtag.
MPWRPeople.
You do different business than other people. You operate on a business wavelength that I understand. And sometimes people look at me like I lost it. And I'm sure that people look at you at times like, ma'am, you've lost it.
I say they look at me like I have 3 heads.
Yes. And here you are. Pull it a little closer to you. How about Jeff? There you go, too.
Yep.
Alrighty. So let's talk about who you are and what you do. And then you brought somebody with you.
Yes. Actually, who are you? No, I'm just kidding. So, yes, I'm the founder of Empower People, which is a nonprofit that provides education and connection to purpose and mission-driven leaders. And Jeff Wilmoth, who is sitting beside me, is the president of the Empower People Board. Jeff?
Yeah, nice to meet everyone. Mike, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a few
Couple
weeks. Yeah, a couple weeks.
Yeah, the last time I think we were all in the same room was at our last Empower Hour event, and our next Empower Hour event is only next week, next Wednesday, November 1st at Robin's Hope at 9 o'clock. So I feel like our last Empower Hour was literally like last week, but can you imagine? It's already been almost a month.
It's almost been a month already.
Everyone's saying the same thing. This fall is speeding on by as well as the year. So Jeff, part of the reason why I wanted to come on to the Evolve Together with Empower People show today is that I was hoping that you could tell people a little bit about yourself and why, you let me rope you into this president gig with the Empower People Board.
So I spent most of my career in the corporate world. So I was with a very large organization for 35 plus years. So got a huge amount of background and operations and those types of things, but always had that feeling that always you want to be part of something that's a little bit bigger than you, and always want to do something to help others. So this was a great opportunity for me. Tiffany asked me to come on to the board. It was really a no-brainer for me. I know Tiffany 3 or 4 years now. We've worked very closely together. I understand Tiffany's passion, and I understand, there's a lot of folks out there that have passion, but passion doesn't exactly, translate into success and those kind of things. And what I like about Tiffany is not only does she have the passion, but she has the knowledge to back that passion up. So for her experience, her background, what she does and what she's done in the past is a great recipe for success.
There you go, Jeff. Board member for Empower People. Tiffany Greene is here with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Evolve Together with Empower People. Introducing Empower People, a nonprofit that is here to educate and connect leaders to empower the people, organizations, and communities they serve. Picture this. A world where everyone is connected, communities thrive, and individuals have the knowledge and skills to create positive change and live out their purpose. That's what Empower People is all about. We offer a wide range of courses, learning and growth development programs, and our signature Empower Hour event. Our services are centered on education and connection to support purpose-driven leaders. Ready to take the next step? Visit our website at www.empowerpeople.org. That's MPWRpeople.org. And join the Empower People community as an individual, nonprofit, or for-profit organization. You can also find us on our On the Mic with Mike program, Evolve Together with Empower People, where I, Tiffany Joy Greene, MBA founder, executive director, and ex officio of Empower People, and guests will share insight on driving purpose-driven businesses, nonprofit, and for-profit. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Join Empower People today and unlock your true purpose. Evolve together.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany Greene right there. 2 shows nightly, She is here with us. Okay, so let's get serious. So, Jeff, you come from the operations side.
Yep.
You were also a Marine.
Yes, sir.
Which is operations at its finest. Yes, there is no. Everyone who's ever been in the military understand that the Marine Corps operates differently. Okay, so here me and Tiffany are. We're kind of like two people who people may look at what we do as that passion-driven part as a little bit different from the operational side. It's kind of like a kumbaya. We can all get along. It's not a straight line, is what people see. Mm-hmm. People don't see before. It's the same thing before with diversity or good culture. People didn't understand that had a direct result on the bottom line. So here you come from the organizational side. Talk a little bit about when an organizational person goes into, say, a nonprofit sometimes or a business where you don't see a lot of structure, or maybe the founder doesn't really see why it needs to be there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think Tiffany mentioned it earlier and in some of our conversations that, a nonprofit is you pretty much have to run it as a business.
As a business.
As a business. So if you're what I'm trying to think about here, if you've got a ton of money coming in, that's great. But if you're not spending it wisely, if you're not doing what you need to do as a nonprofit to make sure that you are forwarding your mission of what you want to do, then you're not going to succeed. So you want to have the passion, but you have to have the operation administrative. All of that stuff has to be effective as well. Like I said, it's just like running a business. You can't bring in all this money, or you can't fulfill your purpose if things aren't running smoothly behind the scenes, if you will.
And Mike, isn't the military a purpose-driven
It
organization?
is, but it's a little bit different. It's a little different because you're forced to take on the culture by people who are. It's drilled into you from the moment that you get there. They're taking all your individualism away, and we're making you part of a team. What you're talking about is getting people to buy into it. So a lot of times we hear a lot of people talk, and it's only every so often you hear someone who talks like you. They're talking your language, and then all of a sudden it's like the light comes on because you do like this. You start looking, because how many people do we talk to? Get to the money. Let's show me the money. And we're like, okay, But now if you treat people right, that affects how they work for you. That affects how they feel about the organization. But when we talk to people most of the time, it's just like, just get to it.
Yeah, because money is, like I always say, is a key performance indicator. It is not the purpose. And if all you do is chase money, you feel unfulfilled. So as an owner, you can keep saying, well, I'm going to increase my revenue goal. I'm going to increase my market. And at the end of the day, so great, you reach there and you just keep expanding. I know business owners who've been through this. When does it stop? And it doesn't stop not because out of ambition. It doesn't stop because they don't get the fulfillment that they're actually seeking. And when that is your primary purpose, how do your employees feel about that, right? They feel, well, am I here to make this person money? Well, that isn't feeding my soul, right? So when you have a purpose, when it's actually the leader's primary purpose is to know what the organization's purpose is. And that's really what the military does. So I would say somebody signs up to join the military because they believe they have bought into the purpose behind the military, whatever branch that is. Once they join, then you're right. Then they have to adopt the culture, learn the lay of the land, and do what they're told. But they had to buy in
to go there
sign up.
At the beginning.
They signed up for it because they believed in the ultimate purpose and the sacrifice that they're giving for their country.
So for people who are old enough, you didn't join the Army or you didn't join the Marine Corps. You went to the service. That's what people said.
Sure.
Person went, where'd he go? He went to the service. He went to this, and it was a world where money didn't play a big part. I remember the first time I met somebody who made $25,000. I'm like, yo, what do you do with all that money? Because it's not in our world. And then you get out of the military, and then you get introduced to what's known as the real world, and you always are longing for that thing that you had, whether they want to call it esprit de corps, whether it's that feeling that people are just doing something together, and it's for people from all over, and you have to learn how to manage people who sometimes want to be there, don't want to be there, and you just can't trade people. These are people you're given. You can't fire people. You got to work with these people. So you learn how to work in a purpose-driven organization. You're trying to have purpose behind what you do because it does make life easier. That's why when you're talking and looking at you going, I know people look at you sometimes and just like, this lady's crazy.
Dave, I think some people just say, oh, is she living in the dream world? Because at the end, it's just about the dollars and the cents.
And we're saying it's not.
It's not. And and there's case study after case study proving that it is not the truth, right? If you look at some of the most successful organizations that ever existed, they were purpose-driven. Most entrepreneurs who come up with a concept or innovation are not doing it with the thought of, I'm going to make a ton of money out of this. They're doing it because there's something bigger that they're trying to fix in the world. Most people, even, I know we're not going to talk politics, but even most people, if they aspired as a kid to be a politician, they're not going in there with the aspiration of how some people perceive politics. Oh, I'm going to be crooked, I'm going to be this. No, they want to go and
I
change the world.
I say that every time, and I do it. A lot of people in the political world, I'm like, they didn't go there with what ended up happening. They went there with the ideas, I want to make a difference. And it's like, even before, so I used to travel a lot. And the more you travel, the better the accommodations get. You didn't know that next level of travel until you hit it. Then all of a sudden, those doors open up. You're like, man, I missed this the whole time. You start because now all of a sudden you've been given that world. All right, so Mike King is here. Tiffany, how can people find you out there?
On the website, empowerpeople, MPWRPeople.org. They can also reach me. I like email, TJ, as in Tiffany Joy Greene, with an E at the end, at empowerpeople.org.
Alrighty, so Jeff, let's talk about becoming part of the board. I know you were just out there just waving your hand going, hey, pick me, pick me, pick me. I want something else to do. It didn't go like that?
Yeah, it was pretty much like that. She caught me down on the corner.
Exactly.
I had to sign.
Exactly. Pick me. I want to come in. I've done my work.
She thought it was a car wash for a second, but I was actually like a block from her house when she
and next thing you know, here you are.
So, and here I am. So, yeah, Tiffany asked, and I was like, absolutely. Like I said, I've known Tiffany for quite a long time now, for 3 or 4 years. That doesn't seem like a long time, but
in world now it is,
because we talk almost every day. I mean, we talk almost every day. In fact, she went on vacation for a week, or I was on vacation a week. It's like I had withdrawals because I wasn't talking to Tiffany, during the week. But there's a reason I like doing that, and there's a reason because, like I said, I came on the board because of Tiffany, her passion, me wanting to do something, to help people out. Her passion, her mission, those things, we align together very well. So there's a lot of good people out there that have not had the opportunity, whether they don't have the money, or they don't have the resources, or they don't have the connections, or whatever that may be. There are good people out there that this city, this county, this state could really use. And I want to be a part. If it's just one person, we make a difference, then you know what, that's a good thing.
So Tiffany's always talking about purpose-driven organizations, and you come from the organizational side. Something that you see in the ecosystem that businesses, organizations are missing right now from an organizational standpoint?
I think it's getting better, Mike, but I tell you, it goes back to kind of what she said. I think, I guess as I've gotten older, money doesn't, we all want to make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
I work during the day. I want to make money. I need to make money. I've got bills to pay. But if you looked at me and said, hey, I can give you a $5,000 raise, or I can take $5,000 a year and I can donate that to a family or you know, a nonprofit or something like that. I would tell them to donate the $5,000. As I've gotten older, I've come to realize that, you know, there's more than just me, and I think organizations, companies, if you will, are missing the fact that you don't need to pay your employee more. You need to give them things, give them a reason to stay. And I work for a company right now that does a ton of stuff for the communities, and they do a lot. I mean, they put it out there, and they let you know about it. They provide me as an individual ways that I could use the company as well. That's one of the reasons I stay there, is because of what they do outside of the business world. So I think companies have gotten much better about it. You know, the social awareness is getting better and better and better. But I still think we have a long ways to go. So,
Mike King, Jeff is here with this Tiffany talking organizational things, purpose-driven organizations. And like I said, when I first heard you talk, it's like it's different. Mm-hmm. But it's not that different. It's something that people don't know that they're missing. I think sometimes we get some years ago it was like total quality management. Everybody was on that. Everybody was on that. That was the thing. And recently it's been we chucking everything to the side for diversity. But when we always talk to people about culture, and you know, it's something that people don't leave great places with good culture. You just don't, because it feels too good to be there.
Well, I'd like to talk, because one of the things when you were asking Jeff about operations is if you were working for a large, let's look at Amazon, for example. Amazon has an internal ecosystem and an external ecosystem. So as they're playing within that I'm sorry to do this to you, Jeff, because Jeff has had some experience with Amazon, and I didn't know it when I said it until right now. I just threw one out there for Jeff. He has experience. So with Amazon, they have an external ecosystem, right? So as they have to have all these suppliers, we all know about supply chain management, mm-hmm. right? So for a supply chain to work, all the suppliers have to what? Work together for a common
cause, goal, purpose.
Boom! I knew you were going to get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany, yes. It's like, that was this is the one I'm waiting. I'm like, I just been blown up. Week after week, she gets me, and it's like word search, and it's purpose.
That's the teacher coming out me.
Exactly.
So when you look at Amazon, they have the supply chain, and they're very effective, obviously, with distribution, but it's because they have all these partners together within their ecosystem working together for a common purpose, right? So why is Amazon in business? What is their purpose?
Some would say to make money, to provide a service to people, to get people what they want. Help me out.
It's about what they're really in the business for, and what makes them unique is their distribution. Is because it's not just about getting people what they want, but it's be able to be affordable and the access and convenient.
Right? It is convenient.
Right?
It is convenient.
So
it is very convenient.
So when you look at that and you look at what the purpose is, like what is that purpose, right? So they have that ecosystem. So they bring in, they got UPS brought into that. They got outside drivers. They got all these. Jeff probably knows better their supply chain since he worked through a third party with Amazon. But they have a full ecosystem to make this machine work. They don't do it by themselves. Nobody works in isolation, right? So if you are a purpose-driven organization and you say, I'm in this business because I'll use the example I used last week. If I was in the grocery business, and the reason why I wanted to go in the grocery business is because I really wanted to make a difference. I didn't want people to go to bed hungry at night, and I wanted them to have healthy food, right? As a grocery store owner, can you help with that purpose?
Yes.
Yes. Do you need others to participate? Yes. So what do you need to do? You need to create an ecosystem to drive hunger out. And in order to drive hunger out, you need what? You need for-profit and non-profits working together for a shared common purpose to drive that hunger out. So when people say, hey, we can't do that, we're at the mercy of XYZ, we're at the mercy of government or whatever election or whatever's happening, that's BS. At the end of the day, we all have the control is in our hand. Every business owner, every business leader, whether it's for-profit or non-profit, can make impact, can make change, and they can drive purpose. All we need to do is work together.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany Greene here on the Stump Speech. She'll be running for office. That is for sure. We're just going to pick out what position it's going to be. But that is correct, because everyone always says, I can't do it because of...
But there is no can't. A can't is an excuse. You give your power away every single time you say can't. If you want to retain the power and make a difference, you own it and you do it.
I used to have a boss that always, every time you went into his office, if you made the statement, I can't, he'd stop you. He just, like I said, and it's the old, we all know the saying, don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can do. What can we do to take a step forward? Don't tell me what you can't, just say what we can do. It may not be a big step, might not be the step you're trying to make at the time, but it's still a step forward. And everybody has that ability to do that. Everybody. I had a guy one time tell me that he had a football coach said, he said, Coach, I'm getting killed out here. He said, every time I catch the ball, they're all on top of me. He said, I don't know what to do. He said, son, just fall forward. He said, when you fall forward, because at least you're moving in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And people, everybody has the ability to do something.
And when you help the purpose, you help yourself.
Right.
So if somebody is looking at this as being a little critical, right, or cynical, I should say, and they're looking at like, well, if you have this ecosystem of for-profits and non-profits banded together for a common purpose, what is that going to do for my organization? When you help others, you help yourself.
There you go. Tiffany Greene here. How can people find you out there, ma'am?
MPWRPeople.org. MPWRPeople.org. Hashtag EmpowerPeople.org. Hashtag EmpowerPeople, LinkedIn and Facebook. And you can actually contact me via email. I do prefer that. TJ Greene with an E at the end at EmpowerPeople.org.
Next week we are doing, it is the Big Kahuna group next week, isn't it?
That's right. It's the Empower Hour, and we're having it at 9 o'clock at Robin's Hope. That's November 1st. Panelists will include myself, Stacy Briley Goodman with Organic Solutions, John Rabel with...
She's an organization person, too. That's why when she was there, you were just sitting in the back going like this. Yeah. Organizational people kind of look the same. They're like... Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you. I got to Summit Media through Bob Willoughby. He was, he's a sales guy. So we put the deal together, and as salespeople do, here you go, handshake, go along smoothly. Sometimes sales are a little bit wonky. Well, the deadlines are not always deadlines. Sometimes they make it, sometimes, but salespeople understand that. Well, Bob leaves and he moves on, and it leaves me with organizational people. The relationship isn't exactly the same.
Yeah.
Where is the paperwork? What paperwork?
Right.
11 o'clock really means 11 o'clock. Not 11:30, not quarter after, 11 o'clock-ish.
Preferably 5-2.
Exactly. Spoken like a true operational person. So, talk a little bit about what happens when an operational person sees those type of people coming down the hallway, sir.
Well, if you've been in operations for quite a while, you learn to mitigate those problems through anticipation, right?
You see the shenanigans coming, in other words.
Yeah, you see it coming. I mean, you if you've been doing it for a while, you know there's a gray area, if you will. It's 11 o'clock, but it's a possibility it's going to be 11:15. So So my target really was 11:30. Okay, so you do things like that. So sales will always be sales. You can't run a business without them. You got to have them, and they're wonderful people. Don't get me wrong. I love,
in the other
love
southern
salespeople.
parlance, that God bless your heart.
Yeah, bless their hearts.
But we also need the operation side, because with some salespeople, everything could be a one-off. Everything is a one-off. It's not by the book. Everything is, I'm doing them. 20 people are doing it their way,
Right.
and that does not work.
That's a sign of ineffectiveness.
Yes.
So yeah, so I
That's
was,
trouble.
I spent most of my time in service operations. So, and quite honestly, the recurring revenue that business, especially on the service side, it comes from operations. It comes from that side of the business. You got your sales folks out there, and they'll sell something, but if operations is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, if the back office, all of that piece is not working, you'll have that sale for one time and one time only. So you have to have your operations have to be tight, because that affects that customer that you just brought in, and the only way to keep that customer is and I've said this to Tiffany a million times, you got to make it easy for them to do business with you. So if it's hard for someone to do business with you, they're going to go find somebody else that is easier.
See, that's different, because I heard back in the day, there used to be a company that said, where you just put it nicely on the flip side, which is make it harder for them to break up with you and leave, and that keeps them there. But that was in the TQM days, I guess. Now we're looking at doing business differently, which is give them reasons to stay.
Well, yeah, in the earlier, the first example, the TQM example, that could be interpreted in a couple different ways. So, what do you mean by making it hard for them to leave you? That's not necessarily good for the. That's not necessarily good for the customer.
It's not necessarily bad either. It
It's
depends
not
on
necessarily
context.
bad, but it's not necessarily good. It all depends on what it is. But if you are truly a customer-centric business organization, your business makes it easy for that customer to do business with you, and it makes it hard for them to leave. So they're not going to leave you because somebody offers them a cheaper price.
No.
They're not going to leave you. When they're going to leave you is when the operations, when the back office, when all of that stuff starts failing, when the bills aren't on time, when you're not performing, you're not there at 11 when you say you're going to be there at 11, and those types of things. That's when you lose it. That's when you lose your customers.
Also comes back to, so internally you have purpose alignment. So when you're talking about sales versus operations, if the purpose is aligned, there is not a sales versus operations, because the purpose is aligned. Same is true with your external clients. If your purpose needs to be aligned with your clients as well. If they feel like there's a huge culture shift, which is a symbol of the purpose, they're not going to stick with you.
There you go. Dropping nuggets of knowledge. That's what you get here. On the mic is Mike. We got to run. These folks got stuff to do. It is always a pleasure. Catch us next week, the Empower Hour. Okay, so we're going down. We had the folks who are going to be in Empower Hour with us.
Yes.
Let's run down that all-star lineup once again.
Okay, we have John Rabel with lunch. Yes, maybe that would be nice, but no. Lunch. Stacy Briley Goodman with Origamic Solutions. Brian Kinsey with Tinker HR, and myself, and you, Mike.
What is an go? Give me that one once again. I'm from Philly, so you know that you can an ex officio. What do you call yourself?
Ex Officio?
Yes. What is that, ma'am?
That is just a fancy title to be on the board when you're also the executive director of.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not the person who can marry you.
That's no.
Ladies and gentlemen, we gotta go. See you.
Look at that married man.
Listen.
I've been married for like.
I've been married for 43 years.